All right. So let's pretend for a second. Let's go all the way back to the year 1978. That was, of course, the year that Space Invaders came out. It completely changed arcades forever, right? I mean, people lined up to play. It made money all over the globe, pretty much. There were so many copycats. We saw some of them in MAME Roulette. There were so many copyrights of it, or not copyrights, copycats. I can speak. But what Space Invaders did was it brought in the what some would say was the golden age of arcade games. Like so many arcade games came out during that time that ended up being like classics, and ended up being like, if not as popular as Space Invaders, like some maybe more so, and some maybe more desired. You know, games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaga, Centipede, Frogger, Defender, and of course Robotron 2084. True titans of the arcade, games that are still widely revered these days, like collectors. Collectors want to get their hands on these games. They're classics. They're some of the games that people associate with arcades. Like if you're old enough and you went to the arcades in the early '80s, like these games are probably what you think of when you think of arcades, right? But I know a lot of people watching this like weren't around for that era. So some people got into games later, and if you mention arcades to somebody, you might think of beat 'em ups. You might think of like multiplayer beat 'em ups, like Final Fight, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men, etc., etc. Those are games people tend to associate with the arcades. Or of course, in 1991, if you were around in 1991. Street Fighter II: The World Warrior just fucking turned arcades on its head. Pretty much opened the doors for a whole new genre. And you had competition in the way of games like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, etc., etc. I probably should have fit more screenshots in here, but I didn't. Sorry, I had to throw in the MK2 2.1 screenshot. So those are certainly some of the games that also like people associate with the arcades. But maybe you were more into the racing games, the getting the cabinet experience. Those were games like you had to go to the arcade to experience in a full size cabinet, like the Deluxe Outrun, or versus racing games like Daytona USA, or the Cruis'n series. So many. Racing games made a lot of money for arcades. Or maybe you were really into light gun games, because those were unique games that were more enjoyable to play on an arcade cabinet, like Area 51, that was everywhere. House of Dead, my personal favorite, and of course Time Crisis. There were just so many unique games that you could only play in the arcade. Well, they would get home ports, but they were never quite the same, having that gun, having that experience. So what I'm getting at here, I'm rambling a bit, I know. Maybe you associate like some of these games. Oh, let me put that back up. Maybe associate when you think of arcades, maybe you think of these games, or perhaps the beat 'em ups, or perhaps the Golden Age games. Those are the games people tend to associate with the arcade experience. And like I said, there were so many great games that came out in that time frame, and that's why I think it is time to do a dedicated stream, to do a focused dedicated stream series to none of these fucking games. How about the games that didn't go down in history? etc., etc. It's a good name, right? Isn't it a great name? I'm so proud of that.